Hello everyone, welcome to the IAS Mentor. I would like to thank you all of you for the kind of response you have given to our two previous history series. One is modern old history, second one ancient Indian history. Many students requested that they want to start modern Indian history as prelims is about to approach. They want to begin modern Indian history, they want to make it very strong. Based on that request, after finishing ancient Indian history, I am starting modern Indian history. In the first video, we are going to understand what is the roadmap. Like we have done for old history also, at the same time, ancient Indian history also, we have done that. What is going to be the roadmap and how chapters are going to be segregated, how we are going to learn about modern Indian history. These are the 7 chapters. Advent of Europeans, the British Conquest of India, the Colonial Administration, Socio-Religious Reforms, the Resistance to the British Raj, the Rise of Nationalism, Freedom and Partition. I have divided entire modern Indian history into 7 chapters. You consider either 7 chapters or 7 units. Within every unit, we have many issues to deal with. If we talk the timeline, generally, when it comes to the administration of the British Raj, it took place in the mid of 18th century. Mid of 18th century means 750s, 770s onwards. But the real beginning go back to Vasco da Gama time period. Vasco da Gama in 1498 discovered sea route, direct sea route from Europe to India. It was a path-breaking development in 1498. Earlier, Europeans had to reach India through land route. Now they can directly come from the sea route. As a result, they need not to cross many kingdoms between Europe and India. Now, by this time period, by 1400s, Europeans also gradually coming out of superstitious beliefs. They were focusing more on technological advancement, scientific developments. As a result of that kind of mindset of the Europeans, they were able to invent and develop various solutions to the previous challenges, like how to cross the big oceans. They crossed Atlantic Ocean, they crossed Indian Ocean, long distance voyages, how can be done with safety. They could identify the solution and they started following the solutions. As a result, by 1600, Europeans, particularly Portuguese people and Spanish people, they started establishing even colonies also in different parts of the world. Even in India also, Portuguese established their colonies. All of you might be knowing Goa. Goa was the capital of Portuguese Empire in India. In 1500s, Portuguese were very powerful in Indian subcontinent. By 1600, other European powers also took the inspiration from Portuguese people and Spanish people. They also wanted to build their own colonies. Because whether it is India or Latin America, the Spanish people and Portuguese people were taking a lot of native products to Europe, and in Europe they were getting huge profits. For example, in Europe, spices were having a lot of demand. Portuguese people used to get these spices and they were selling in Europe. Now, other European countries also got the motivation and inspiration that they also wanted to get access to these exotic products. As a result, in 1600s, Dutch people, English people, French people also wanted colonies like Portuguese and Spanish people. Portuguese people controlled India and Asia parts, whereas Spanish dominated American continent. Now these people also started competing. Now by 1700, there is going to be a huge competition among themselves. This phase in our history we call the advent of Europeans. How they are coming, why they are coming, once they came here, how they are approaching the British Indian governments. When these developments are happening, India was under Mughal emperors, very powerful Mughal emperors like Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, very powerful Mughal emperors were ruling. They came here as traders. Their main focus is to get profits. Their main aim is to get exotic products from India, Asia, and take it to Europe and sell there, get maximum profits. Till 1700, this was the European journey, how Europeans came to India, gradually where they settled. From the prelims point of view also, prelims questions are coming in which settlements or which European powers settled in which places. They are called factories, like English factories, Dutch factories, likewise. In 1700, in India, politically, power struggle started in India. As a result, the European powers, they are now getting opportunity, not only economic point of view, they are even seeing the opportunity in politics also. As a result, by 1750s, the Europeans started involving in the politics also. After Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire started declining. Many regional powers emerged. Now, regional powers means when there is no central government, when there is no strong central government, regional kingdoms will not have that many resources to fight any kind of external aggression. But Europeans have seen it as an opportunity. They involved in the local politics and they started displacing the existing native rulers themselves. By 1750s, gradually English people started becoming successful in overthrowing the powerful kings and establishing their puppet rulers in the kingdoms. Like in case of Bengal, they have started conquering India starting from Bengal, then Carnatic region. Gradually, they expanded their power to other regions as well. This phase, from here onwards, they gradually going to conquer one after the other. They conquer Bengal, they conquer Carnatic region, they conquer Mysore region, Maratha region, Punjab region, small kingdoms, everything they are going to directly or indirectly going to control. That phase, how they have done, with whom they fought, what are the various battles. From the prelims examination point of view also, these battles are important. The leaders who fought against British also important. That is second chapter, the British Conquest of India. Now, once they conquered, initially they came as traders. Their main purpose was to trade with India to get as much profits as possible. Now they got opportunity to even control the politics also. Now, once they control politics, their immediate ambition is not going to administer the Indian people with welfare approach. It is not going to be the first aim. The first aim is how to use this political power to maximize their revenue, to maximize their profits. These are the private companies. Private companies who are having stakeholders. They are not answerable to Indian public. They are answerable to the stakeholders or shareholders of those companies. That is why their main intention is to maximize the profit. Now, political power is in their hand. they are going to exploit Indians to the maximum level. Whatever land revenue they can extract, they extracted. Whatever raw materials they could extract, they have done it. That is called exploitation of India. That happened with very systematic administrative steps. That process is known as colonial administration. Here, from our examination point of view, we have to know how they have taken the legal steps, what kind of bills or laws they passed, what are the provisions of these administrative steps, whether it benefited Indians or not, how far Indians were exploited. Those are the important facts we have to remember. From the mains point of view also, you have to analyze how far this administration exploited India, how Indian resources were drained towards London. This kind of questions will come. When they were ruling, they displaced Indian rulers. In some places, directly they started administering. In some places, they indirectly controlled Indian kings. Overall, in Indian subcontinent, their administration was going on. Some educated Indians started looking the differences between European culture and Indian culture. Those enlightened Indian educated people started seeing Indian society in a different light, because by that time period, there were so many social evils. There is no unity among people within the villages. People are divided based on their caste. With respect to women, so many restrictions were there with respect to women, child marriages, multiple wives, polygamy, sati practice, superstitious beliefs. Majority people were living in a completely different world with their own customs and religious beliefs. On the other hand, Europeans are coming to India with advanced weapons, advanced or modern ideologies, with ideologies like equality, women liberation. When they have compared European culture and Indian culture, for these people it appeared British Raj was helping India, because India appeared backward, Europeans appeared forward. These educated, enlightened people were feeling that the British Raj is going to help Indians, so that Indians also will come out of this ignorance. They also will develop a rational thought, scientific thought. Over a period of time, India also going to develop. But there will be some conservative forces who don't want this change. Because if you question the religion, the traditional people who are enjoying the high status, their status is under attack. That's why there is going to be intense friction between those who want reform, those who do not wish any kind of reform. That phase in our history known as the socio-religious reform. Simply, these enlightened, educated people want every Indian think freely, don't unnecessarily fall to the prey of superstitious beliefs. Practices like sati were not according to the modern standards. They all should be reformed. Then only Indians will get the benefit of the real advancements in Europe. That's what socio-religious reform. On the other hand, British people were also started giving new ideologies like the British, they were propagating the ideals like British did not come to India to exploit Indians, rather than that, other than that, they wanted to, instead of exploiting India, they wanted to develop India. They want to civilize India. They were propagating these kind of ideals. Christian missionaries were becoming very active. They contributed for the education, women education particularly, and they were trying to portray themselves as the liberator, not as the conquest, not as the invader, but later as well as not as invaders, but as liberators. That is why initial leadership felt that the British administration is going to help India. In that attempt, they created certain organizations like Brahma Samaj, Arya Samaj, Pradhana Samaj, and they were working for liberating India from the existing socio-religious evils. When it comes to socio-religious reformers, they want to gradually change the society. But when it comes to the British policies, they were ruthless. They conquer tribal areas. So far, tribals were enjoying traditional rights in their forests. Now, suddenly, British colonial masters started telling that these forests do not belong to the tribals. These forests belong to the government. Now, where the tribals will go? They were conquering Indian kingdoms, and suddenly they displaced many Indian rulers by saying that they are not the legitimate rulers. They replaced whoever support the British, they replaced the Indian rulers. Now, those people who lost their kingdoms, who lost their land, who lost their job, they felt that the British administration is one of the worst form of government. They are not ruling India for the betterment of Indians, rather they came here for exploiting Indians. They have taken the weapons, they started killing the British officers also. They started attacking the British administrators. That is known as the resistance to the British Raj. One of the greatest resistance to the British Raj was the 1857 revolt. It is also known as the Great Revolt. Those developments have taken place. Those developments have taken place in 1800s. 1857 is biggest jolt to the British administrators that it is not that whatever the policies they are following, they are not good for the Indians. Indians are not happy about their administration. They also need a change. Even in England also, this kind of perception developed due to 1857 revolt. Even today also, we worship the people who fought in 1857 revolt. We admire the leaders who sacrificed their lives in 1857 revolt. It's a turning point in getting India freedom gradually. Now, this is a violent one. But when it comes to the weapons, Indian weapons were less advanced. British weapons were advanced. That is why Indians were not able to win over the British. And other important element is from the British side who were fighting with these 1857 rebels. Who are the soldiers from the British side? Again, they are also Indians only. Identify this. The masters were British, but the soldiers were Indian. Here also the rebels were Indians. That means what is happening here? Indians only fighting against the Indians. Now, some educated people have seen these differences. Now they started questioning why Indians only divided. We need unity. Without this unity, the British will continue to rule India. When British conquered, in the second chapter, the British Conquest of India, one of the reasons for the British conquest was the divisions within the Indian ranks. Indian rulers only divide themselves, and one of the contenders for the power, they themselves approach the British and they are going to expect the help from the British. So indirectly, Indians only gave India to British. That is why so far now already 100, more than 100 years, if you take 1700, 1740s onwards, by 1850, more than 100 years of British administration is there. Now educated people started looking back and understood the British came here as traders and they are just giving only oral promises saying that they are going to civilize India. But the real truth is they came here to exploit, not to develop. But if we want to oppose this, there must be unity among Indians. That unity, you cannot pull all the Indians by saying the caste name. All the caste people come together because there are differences within the caste. With religion also, all Indians cannot come together because India is a land of so many religions. With the region also, people cannot come together. People feel that Bengal is different and southern Madras is different, Bombay different. There must be one ideology which is going to unify all Indians. That ideology is called nationalism. Some leaders felt that unless there is a strong sense of nationalism among Indians, we cannot get what we deserve. We cannot pressurize the British administration also what we want. We want development, we want removal of poverty, we want development of the industries. When England was enjoying industrial revolution, India is not able to come up out of the basic traditional artifacts industries. In fact, they completely destroyed the artisans industry, handicrafts industry. When India wanted development, when India wanted to develop out of this ignorance, we have to pressurize the British Raj, British administrators. That is possible only when Indians are united. That ideology is known as nationalism. That phase we are going to see under rise of nationalism. And they also understood that with weapons we cannot defeat the British because they are advanced. But with ideas we can oppose the British, with ideas we can defeat the British Raj. That is why nationalism is going to be the most powerful weapon of 19th century. In 20th century, it is going to completely disintegrate the British. It's going to completely end the British Raj. That is what nationalism. Now, when nationalism is becoming the new weapon in the hands of Indians, the British are going to see this unity as enemy to them. Now, how to break it? Only they were able to control India because Indians were fighting amongst themselves. Now, if Indians are coming together and they are talking about unity, then it is very difficult for the British to rule India, to continue to rule India. That is where they are going to bring a policy which is famously known as divide and rule. When unity is their enemy, now their strategy is going to break this unity. That is where they are going to legalize many divisions. Legalize many divisions within the country. Like based on religion, they are going to recognize the division. Based on caste, they want to divide. When they started doing those kind of policies, unfortunately, that led to partition also. It led to huge communal tensions. Finally, in 1947, it led to partition also. India got freedom with a feeling of unity, with nationalism spirit. India got freedom. But at the same time, unfortunate event of partition also took place. Even today also, we are suffering from this British policy. Even today, it is still haunting India based on religion, dividing country into two countries, creating struggle even today also. That is what the last, what were the various circumstances that led to freedom as well as partition. That is going to be the last chapter known as freedom and partition. So this is how it is going to be roadmap, starting from how British came or Europeans came to India, how they established, then how they conquered, then how they administered, then how Indians also wanted to reform Indian society, how Indians resisted, and how Indians understood the overall picture and wanted unity among Indians, why they wanted, who are the leaders behind the spirit of nationalism, what are the various organizations behind the spirit of nationalism, we have to see. And when nationalism became the enemy of British Raj, they wanted to divide the country. That's why they wanted to break Indians. They want to divide Indians based on various communal lines. Finally, that led to partition. India got freedom. At the same time, Indian subcontinent was also partitioned. This is how we are going to handle modern Indian history. All right, one after the other. Again, each unit you are going to get multiple videos over a period of time. We are going to complete modern Indian history as well. If you follow regularly, systematically, you can handle many prelims questions and many mains questions. You will get a complete picture. If you watch our ancient history series, whoever watch completely, they will never be afraid of history at all. Generally, there is a fear that history is very vast and it is only just a list of facts. But here you need not to mug up anything. We need to remember history just like a story. Just if you know the story, you are automatically going to remember for a very long period of time. That is our approach. I will make you this series also very interesting to you. This is how our journey is going to be. All right. All the best. Thank you.